Hello, we are the St. Pete team, and we are presenting our PowerPoint today on the Marvel comic movie Black Panther. It was produced in 2018, and I am Natasha.
I am Trey.
Okay, next slide. This is our main character in the movie, T'Challa. He is the Black Panther, and as you can see, his suit is made of vibranium, which is something we'll speak about momentarily in the PowerPoint. Next slide. Our Black Panther summary takes place thousands of years ago. There were 5 African tribes at war over a meteorite containing the metal vibranium. One warrior ingested a heart-shaped herb affected by metal and gained superhuman abilities, becoming the first Black Panther. He unites all but the Jabari tribe to form the nation of Wakanda. Over centuries, the Wakandans used vibranium to develop advanced technology and isolate themselves from the world by posing as a third world country. So they were living sort of in a secret society. And then after the death of King T'Chaka, his son T'Challa returned home to the African nation of Wakanda to take his rightful place as king. After a little while of peace, prosperity, and hiding in isolation, a powerful enemy that was the American cousin of T'Challa, shows up and tests the throne of Wakanda. So the King T'Challa gets tested and is drawn into a conflict that puts the fate of Wakanda and the entire world at risk. Faced with treachery and danger, the young king must rally his allies, the surrounding tribes, to release the full power of Black Panther to defeat his foes and secure the safety of his people. Next slide. This is a slide of the nation of Wakanda. And as you can see, there's a UFO-looking object that flies into the nation. You sort of need a superpower vibranium-made machine to even penetrate to get into that nation, because again, they're isolated. Next slide shows a picture of the backside of King T'Challa facing the different tribes of Wakanda. Next slide is our outline, and our overview will be of the movie Black Panther and how it relates to the DISC and typology assessments. We're going to use those assessments to relate to each of the characters and their team roles used to take back the throne of Wakanda. We're going to provide an understanding of the characters, the 4 characters that we chose. We're going to give an analysis of our team virtual experience amongst each other, the St. Petersburg team. We're also going to provide our Belbin results of each one of us as a team, and how we used our traits to come together to work on this PowerPoint and group project. We're going to also speak on our group member roles and how our personality traits and characteristics that we brought individually to the team. We shared some strengths and some weaknesses, but we pulled together and produced a good group effort and PowerPoint. And lastly, we're going to talk about our communication. It's going to be discussed later in the PowerPoint, and it will tell how we effectively communicated with each other consistently to complete our assessments and presentation for the class. Next slide. Overview. We analyzed a popular movie to discuss the hierarchy and how it shapes behavior and responses of the individuals who fall under someone with a position of power. Next slide. Understanding the characters. I'm going to explain who all of the 4 characters that we chose are. I'm going to explain their personality types, and I'm also going to explain the roles that each character played. I will give a briefing on all four, but I will thoroughly explain one, and my classmates will explain the others throughout this PowerPoint. Next slide. This is a picture of Okoye. She is the warrior woman. She's loyal to the throne of Wakanda. She is head of the Wakandan Armed Forces and Intel. The next character will be Shuri, which is the daughter of the deceased King T'Chaka and sister to the new King T'Challa of Wakanda, and she is head of science and information exchange. Our next character will be T'Challa, which is the king of Wakanda, also known as the Black Panther, who was seen in the first slide. And our last character that we chose was Zuri, who is known as the advisor to the king and known as a shaman, which is someone who is a bridge between the world of good and evil spirits. He provided the nation with rituals and healing. Next slide. I'm going to elaborate on Okoye, and upon using the DISC assessment, we determined that her trait was dominant. Okoye is a dominant worker on the team. Her primary goal was to carry out plans of the leader, T'Challa. Okoye was a no-nonsense worker who had no plans to be sociable or likable. She focused on the goal and solved problems that interfered with getting the goal accomplished. Okoye's typology personality is ISTJ, which means that she was introverted, sensate, thinking, and judging. And she had a no-nonsense type of person who was reserved, very responsible, and dependable. She was someone that on a team that would work best on a team with established rules and procedures. She ran meetings like clockwork for the King T'Challa. She was very efficient, focused, and very impersonal. And to speak to her impersonal side, she was one that would push you aside, run you over, or do whatever she needed to do under the demands of her king and under the throne of Wakanda. One of her best lines in the movie was that she was loyal to the throne no matter who sat upon it. And to speak to that, the king T'Challa was overthrown by his cousin, Killmonger, and it put Okoye in a difficult position. She was so loyal to Wakanda that war against those two, T'Challa and Killmonger, threatened her friendship with the current King T'Challa and the opposing king, Killmonger. And I'm going to turn this over to Elaine, who will go further and explain more of the characters.
Next slide. As you see, the next character that we decided to explain the personality was Shuri. Shuri is the sister of T'Challa, and she's also a very dedicated team worker to the goal of defending the country of Wakanda. Next slide. Shuri dominated role in the DISC personality is that of I. She is inspiring and interactive. Shuri certainly was the fun worker and energetic worker on the team, but more importantly, generated exciting tools and created inventions and ideas to reach the goal of the team. Her typology personality trait is ESFP, which is fun and delightful to be with. They live in the moment and know how to make the most of each moment. Under this personality, some people work well on teams, others work best on their own. Understanding the personality types of team members provides information about how individuals are likely to carry out their work and interact with each other. Given the personality preferences on ESFP, the following strengths and possible weaknesses that will most likely bring to a team. For the personality trait of ESFP, they usually are entertaining, breaks the ice, and keeps others inspired and working through his or her excitement. Feels morale, and esprit de corps. Enthusiastically invites others to participate and join together. Next slide. The next character that we will define is T'Challa, who's the leader of Wakanda. Next slide. T'Challa, he was the leader which was appointed by the people from the country of Wakanda. T'Challa is a leader that is strong, that genuinely cares about the people. T'Challa's main focus is to support the peace and harmony of the culture by preserving the legends of his father. His leadership style is best described as consistent and supportive. Although through diversity, he consistently defends what is right and considers the needs of others. T'Challa's personality or typology is INFP.
Elaine, we can't hear you.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Okay, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
I had to be closer. Okay, sorry. His leadership style is that of the type that has strength and blind spots. The following highlights of an INFP approach to leadership provides clues as to how INFP will act in a leadership role and pinpoint some of the leadership qualities. In subtle, indirect, gentle, and inclusive in persuading others, he gathers dedicated people around a shared vision because of his passion and affirms individuals' contribution and promotes group undertakings. He accomplishes results in his way, even if it means waiting out others. Next slide. The next character is Zuri. Next slide. Zuri was the chief advisor to the King T'Challa, who proceeded each mission with caution. He thoroughly researched the pros and cons of each mission and advised with the facts. He was the team player that considers how the goal objective will affect the masses. His typology personality trait is that of INTP. INTP are perhaps the most intellectual, thoughtful of all personality traits. On a team, some people work well on teams, others work best on their own. Understanding the personality types of team members provides information about how individuals are likely to carry out their work and interact with each other. Given the personality preference of an INTP, the following are the strengths and possible weaknesses that will most likely bring to a team. Naturally becomes the expert resource on problems that others consult with, works alone to achieve the group projects and goals, or brings both a critical vision and precise rationale understanding to the team. Next slide. Now we'll cover the analysis of the instructions given by the professor on part 2 of our group development and teamwork. The instructions were to report on our virtual team development experiences and analyze the group dynamics that occurred within our team throughout the course of the term, again using course concepts and methods. For example, we were asked to explain how did our team experience the 5 stages of group development, who played what roles in the group, and how does that relate to the Belbin results? How did the group manage conflict? What was the leadership like? How effective was our communication? And now we will start to cover part 2 of the requested part of the assignment. And I will turn this over to Trey to explain that part of the assignment.
Thank you, Elaine. So, this is Trey speaking, and I will be explaining each group member's Bellman results. And I'm going to start with Elaine. Well, for Elaine, she is a ENFJ, which stands for extroverted, intuitive, feeling, and judging. ENFJs are idealist organizers, driven to implement their vision of what is best for humanity. They often act as catalysts for human growth because of their ability to see potential in other people and their charisma in persuading others to their idea. They are focused on values and vision and are passionate about the possibilities for people. ENFJs are typically energetic and driven and often have a lot on their plates. They are tuned into the needs of others and acutely aware of human suffering. However, they also tend to be optimistic and forward-thinking, intuitively seeing opportunity for improvement. The ENFJ is ambitious, but their ambition is not self-serving. Rather, they feel personally responsible for making the world a better place. Next slide. ENFJ quote. And I think this quote best fits Elaine. Teachers expect the very best of those around them, and their enthusiasm inspires action in others and the desire to live up to their expectations. David Kiersey, please understand me too. Next slide. The Bellman results for Natasha. Natasha is a ESFP typology. That stands for extroverted, sensitive, feeling, and perceiving. ESFPs are vivacious entertainers who charm and engage those around them. They are spontaneous, energetic, and fun-loving, and take pleasure in the things around them: food, clothes, nature, animals, and especially people. ESFPs are typically warm and talkative and have a contagious enthusiasm for life. They like to be in the middle of the action and the center of attention. They have a playful, open sense of humor and like to draw out other people and help them have a good time. Next slide. The ESFP quote that best fits Tasha: the performers radiate warmth and festivity. And whether on the job, with friends, or with their families, they are able to lift others' spirits with their contagious good humor and their irrepressible joy of living. David Kiersey, please understand me too. Next slide. Development results for Trey. Trey is an ESFJ, and that stands for extroverted, sensitive, feeling, and judging. ESFJs are conscientious helpers, sensitive to the needs of others, and energetically dedicated to their responsibility. They are highly attuned to their emotional environment and attentive to both feelings of others and the perception others have of them. ESFJs like a sense of harmony and cooperation around them and are eager to please and provide. ESFJs value loyalty and tradition and usually make their family and friends their top priority. They are generous with their time, effort, and emotions. They often take on the concerns of others as if they were their own and will attempt to put their significant organizational talents to use to bring order to other people's lives. Next slide. An ESFJ quote that best fits Trey. ESFJs are primarily concerned with the details of direct experience, their own, that of their friends and acquaintances, even the experienced strangers whose lives have happened to touch theirs. Isabel Briggs Myers, gift deferring. Next slide. Now I'll be getting to explain group member roles. We're going to start with Elaine. Elaine has similar leadership skills as famous ENFJs, which include Oprah Winfrey, Pope John Paul II, Margaret Mead, Ralph Nader, Abraham Maslow, Dr. Phil McGraw, and Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes.
Elaine has a similar leadership style to the diplomatic leader. The visionary diplomat leader will involve themselves with ideas and imaginings often linked to higher causes and values. While they may be active in their organizations, they will shine more for their ability to inspire and share a larger vision. They look towards what the future can bring rather than the offerings of the past and present. Next slide. Next group member I would like to talk about is Natasha. Natasha has similar leadership skills as famous ESFPs, including Marilyn Monroe, Elizabeth Taylor, Judy Garland, Magic Johnson, Elvis Presley, Ronald Reagan, Paul McCartney, Bob Hope, and Goldie Hawn. Natasha has a similar leadership style to the Explorer leader. The Explorer leader is most likely to find quick solutions to any problems that arise, and to take an organization in a new and exciting direction. They don't mind taking risks when they feel there's a decent chance the risks might pay off. They don't care about how others have done things in the past, only what's the next big thing. They are leaders oriented towards acting rather than planning and analyzing. Next slide. Now we will talk about Trey. Trey has similar leadership skills as famous ESFJs, including Martha Stewart, Abe Thomas, Sam Walton, Barbara Walters, William Howard Taft, J.C. Penney, Sally Field, Mary Tyler Moore, and Ray Kroc. Trey has a similar leadership style to the Sentinel leader. The Sentinel leader will take care of business as an administrator who gets all the details right and handle things in a meticulous way. They are likely to honor the past and be strict about rules and protocols. These personality types work from a sense of responsibility for taking care of the greater good. Sentinels see their leadership role as protecting and preserving society, some slice of it, or an established tradition. Next slide. Our group's communication. Our group communicated through video chat. We have used WebEx, group chat, and Facebook to communicate while we are at home during the quarantine. Our team has great communication. Because we have this skill, it minimized stressful situations and conflicts. Elaine is a strong communicator, very dependable team player. She is the glue and keeps the team together, focused, and on track. Natasha is a positive and friendly communicator, a very charismatic team player as well. She is able to bring the best out of people around her and make the task assigned enjoyable and fun. Trey is an understanding communicator, strong listener to each opinion shared. Trey avoids conflicts and is a team player that is on board with the team's objectives and goals. Next slide. We want to thank you, and appreciate you taking the time to listen to our presentation. If you haven't gone and seen Black Panther, go check it.
Hello, we are the St. Pete team, and we are presenting our PowerPoint today on the Marvel comic movie Black Panther. It was produced in 2018, and I am Natasha.
I am Trey.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay. Next slide.